Genealogy does not make a difference, but you still must know the truth. Genealogy doesn't make a difference because a lot of people do not know their genealogy, do not know their past, and do not know wherever they came from and whatever their ancestors used to do. The word speaks of righteousness, a way to act, a way to talk, a way to treat your neighbor, and how to love the Lord thy God with all your heart. So genealogy doesn't matter. These laws and rules that grace fell under by faith came from a history of the people that the whole world was brought into by this new covenant. So with that being said, genealogy doesn't matter. But once coming into the fulfillment of the truth and the word, you must know the whole truth. Yes, genealogy doesn't matter, but you still must know the whole truth. And what is the whole truth? Who the people are, how you came into the fulfillment, how the Lord blessed you in with the material things, thus thou not keeping them oppressed, but sharing that stuff with them. Being one with them. Being loving and kind to them. Treating them equally like you would treat everybody else that's in your family, that's your friend, and the whole 9 yards. Because if you don't know the whole truth, and you don't know how faith works, in order to get that grace, that love, that ear from the one true God Yahweh, then even though genealogy doesn't matter, you still get the hellfire. If you're of this word, then act and carry yourself in a way to show that genealogy does matter. Because if it does matter, then you also must know the whole truth in order to be accepted of this truth. If you are saying, hey, I believe in the Lord, I also, as long as I believe, I'm getting to heaven. Guess what? You must think in your head just like you think that you believe. As long as you believe, you can act, talk, and do whatever the heck you want to because you believe, and it don't work like that either. See, everything is well-rounded. I speak of this all the time. I tell you, there is no angle, there is no rectangle, and there is no square. So, if there's not any of those things and everything's well-rounded, that means everybody gets judged in the end equally. Your actions and what you take in spirituality, being one grafted tree, working together as a unit over belief within these laws, being equal and loving the Lord thy God with all your heart, is what gets you that promise and that reward. I broke this down and I try to sit down and talk about the difference between worldly teaching and spiritually teaching. I put the bastard nation of Iceland up with Mr. Anderson preaching. He does it in a worldly way. He goes hard body, hardcore with it. That's the worldly way. He brings to statistics. He looks at who's doing what, what's doing who, and those are the bad people. With the United States right behind Iceland. So my whole thing is that's why I did that. To show you that there is a difference. Do I agree with his sermons? I don't agree with that, no, because the point is that I was using as example. That sermon I thought was funny. I can agree with it in a worldly way. But a lot of the other stuff, he's not of these people, so he doesn't understand. Talks about the Dead Sea Scrolls and where the people are and all this other stuff and how they never even slept with any woman without even knowing that in Revelations Jesus, Yeshua, the Messiah, the Christ, told John. He said, who are these? He said, those are the 144,000 that never touched a drink, never touched a woman, never know this. That's why the daggone, what is it? The Jehovah's Witnesses got it wrong. And he said, who are these? Oh, those are the ones that came out of 144,000, da, 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 da. So he doesn't even know that them monks, those people he's talking about, the Kadar and all that stuff, that was them. But hey, you're not of the word, you would never know. He's of the word, all right, spiritually in tune, worldly. But you can't be a part of something. I can't sit down and tell an Italian how to be Italian. I can't tell a Puerto Rican how to be Puerto Rican and speak Spanish. I can't sit down and tell a Frenchman how to be French and speak French. But I can tell you in a spiritually good, natural way how my people act, how they think, how they are, and how they interpret the situation, which is the reason why the revelation was given us of those people. It says it in Acts. All right. It also states it even when in the Muslim, when they have the Quran, the fallen angels was deceiving them and telling them everything has a truth within a lie. And they said, well, hey, listen, the revelations, all these other stuff, God only gives to them, the people that are them. You see history with the slavery and the chips with yokes of iron around our neck. We're the only race that went through that. It's in Deuteronomy. I don't speak hypocrisy aside because it's all about the characteristics. But the whole world ended up getting fooled by a group of people that owned the slave ships. They turned themselves into these people. They owned the slave ships that these people were on. A lot of Ashkenazi won't tell you that they own those slave ships. So, with that being said, I did the Hamite and the Ammonites and the Moabites and all that because I wanted to show that if we're going to go by the Old Testament and waste our time with genealogy in the past, waste all of our time on that, what is the spiritualistic feeling and spirituality we're supposed to be carrying, picking up that the gospel taught? Because everybody's harking on this Old Testament and whole 9 yards so much that the Lord said, preach and teach this gospel. If they're not of this and talking about this gospel, then hey, they're not of me. If they're not speaking up the truth of how I died on the cross of the sins of Yahweh and all this, the laws that came with Yahweh, then guess what? Then they're not of me, they're the Antichrist. This is the reason why I speak of the graft under the tree and the oneness. Because it does not make a difference. You can sit down and hang around an Italian and speak Italian just because you were born in Africa doesn't mean that you're Italian. You're still African, but you just got the characteristics of an Italian. You hang with Spanish people, you learn Spanish. You may not be a Spanish, Puerto Rican, or Dominican, but just because you started speaking Spanish, guess what that means? That means that you carry the same characteristics. You may not be of these people by bloodline, but you carry the same characteristics, becoming one with them because you have the trait and the characteristics. So characteristics is a swag personality thing, all right? We have black people that grow up in rich white neighborhoods, and then as soon as they go to the hood, they go, Dad, you act white. Look at the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They picked up the characteristics. You can have people that move up in their hood, and they say, man, you acting like you black. Now, I'm not acting like that black, I'm black. And there's a lot of white people that tell you that. I grew up in the hood, so this is how I am. This is how I act. This is who I grew up around. So they have the characteristics in their trait. Learn to learn the difference between, one and the other. And if you start feeling some kind of way, then that's the spirit. Because if the truth hurts you that much that you have to feel some kind of way, that means you can't handle the truth and accept the truth. So genealogy doesn't matter. The scriptures tell you that it does not matter. Don't worry about all that foolishness. Yara, how many relationships have you had or been in or seen that they're always harking on worrying about what happened in the past? Who in the heck worries about the past? I sit up here and I even teach us and talk about this. Letting go. Let go of the past. Let go of this, because once you hark on it, it's always going to be a thistle and a thorn in your side where the enemy can come up and attack you spiritually. So you let it go and you let go of the past and you start off with your present and you worry about your future of how to build and be a better person. Genealogy does not matter. If you know the characteristics and the traits of certain races and nations was something that God hated, all right, whether if you're a part of that or not, wipe the genealogy, smoke screen, and witchery away and worry about, okay, how can I be holy? How can I be true? all right, you know what? If these are the people and they're going through this and they've been oppressed and there, I'm gonna be righteous to them. Because 9 times out of 10, all right, almost every race and nation has something against these people. This is a real life thing we're talking about. So there's got to be a day, come a day that you're gonna have to do as of us what the word says, and treat everybody equal. The God's always going to put you in a position or a place where you're going to have to be around these people, and you might feel some kind of way, but you're going to have to show your godliness spiritually, because that is the works upon grace that you have to take. It's called turn the other cheek. It tells you that in Romans. It even speaks, do not go on up against your enemy, turn the other cheek to sin. Third, we see a lot of Gentiles that are in power today, and everything has to be an eye for an eye, an eye, an eye, a tooth, a tooth, a tooth. So it's always about the characteristics, not a genealogy, and you still must know the truth. Even if you're being saved by grace because you believe, you still have to show that belief by works. Because every rule and regulation that brought these people into transgression, because they did not show works or faith and took on a different characteristic that God hated, means that you have a chance now as to be one grafted olive tree to carry those same characteristics and traits and those same works. That's what coming into the fulfillment and believing in God means. That's what faith means, because faith has no feelings. Grace has no feelings, all right? Because you can't only earn grace if you show grace. Remember that. So genealogy doesn't matter and doesn't make a difference, but knowing the whole truth does. Remember, well-rounded.